Hello, I'm Scott Parks, a technical trainer at TriWest. Today, I'll show you how to replace a 5G board. Step 1. The first thing you'll want to do is make sure you have a 5G board. You'll do this by identifying a small black plastic tab on the short groove end joint of the board. This is what locks in the 5G system. There should also be a long groove edge and a very small tongue on the opposite long side. Step 2. Now we can start the plank replacement. To cut out the board in the floor, you'll start by measuring 3/16 of an inch on both end joints, and you're going to mark them. Then, you'll measure 1 inch along the entire perimeter of the board and mark that. Next, you'll connect the edges of the inch perimeter to the edge of the board with diagonal lines. You'll also want to mark 2 feet away from each end joint. Step 3. Let's cut the floorboard. First, you'll want to adjust your saw to the depth of your floor. Start by cutting the 3/16 mark you made on both end joints. After you make your cuts, make sure that you vacuum to clean up the debris. Once you cut the 3/16 lines, you'll want to cut the 1 inch marks on both short ends and then the 1 inch marks on the long sides. Step 4. After making your cuts, it's time to remove the board. Start by removing the centerpiece of the board. Then you'll want to cut into each diagonal mark on the corners of the board. Make sure not to overcut. Then cut the straight marks you made 2 feet from the end joints. Don't forget to vacuum up any debris. To make sure you cut all the way through the board, take your utility knife and follow the cuts you made. Repeat the process on the other 3 corners. Next, you'll remove the 1 inch perimeter. Start with the long sides by first grabbing the centerpiece and lifting it out. Then remove the edge pieces and repeat on the opposite long side. To remove the short edge pieces, make sure the 3/16 cut you made goes all the way through the board. If it's done correctly, you should be able to easily lift out the 1 inch perimeter, leaving only the 3/16 end joint on the floor. Step 5. It's time to remove the locking mechanism. On the small 3/16 piece that's still left on the short side, you'll need to take your utility knife and place it horizontally about 1/8 of an inch down the material in order to separate the top and bottom sides of the board. This will unlock the plastic tab and allow us to remove the groove piece from underneath the floor. Now we'll do the opposite side. Again, you'll want to cut about 1/8 of an inch off of the top of the board in order to separate the board from its filling. Step 6. It's time to prepare the new board for the board replacement. First, you'll grab your sharp utility knife and score along the tongue of the long edge of the board. Then you'll go back along the same tongue and finish cutting it off. Sand the edges you just cut. Once you've removed the tongue on the long side, you'll remove the nub on the short side. Take a chisel and scrape the nub off of the groove so that it's flush against the wood. The last thing you need to do to prep the board is take your utility knife and cut out 45-degree angles off of every corner groove. Step 7. Once your new board is prepared, it's time to set it into place. Start by applying the Prevail 30GS adhesive on the top of the groove of the long side of the neighboring plank and on the short groove of the new plank. If you're working with a long plank, you'll need a buddy for this part. You're going to set the plank into place and drop it in. Then you'll have your buddy hold the groove end down while you go to the opposite side and tap it with your tapping block until it locks in place. Then take your soft rubber mallet and gently tap along the edges to make sure everything is locked into place. Place any piece of scrap board or material halfway on the plank replacement and put a weight on top of it. Weigh it down for about an hour until the glue dries. And that's how you replace a 5G plank. Easy, isn't it? Now I've got another floor installation to get to, so I'll see you later.